My name is Colette. I was born January the 12th, 1991, so I'm 32. I'm from a city called Orleans, really original one, That's New Orleans, for real, Orleans. So I was born and raised there. And yeah, that's it. I went to university in Orleans first, and then I came to Paris to study sociology in like 2013. And then life went on with the other stuff. So I was in university in Orleans. I was studying English and Japanese. But then in between, I reverted to Islam. So I was so into religion. I was like, I want to study religion. I love everybody who believes in something. I think it's so beautiful, whatever you believe in. And so I was like, let me do sociology and study religions, every religion. So I can do study, interview people about their beliefs, and share, because I believe in something. I'm so convicted in something. So I want to know how people, like how other people as well are convicted and how they live with their convictions. So I was like, let me study sociology. And also because, here in France, there was like, with religion, they don't really accept religion as a public matter. Like, your religion is very private. You can be religious, but like, don't tell it to the world, don't show it to the world. And with Islam, part of the religion, if you're women, you need to cover. And so people see that you are religious. So I was like, but why does society treat people like this just because of their beliefs? Like, it's kind of fair. They can believe in everything they want. So I was like, let me study this. Why society is like that? What is the history? What happened? And so I studied sociology. I was like, I want to know. I want to understand how it works. I want to understand how people think. And I want to understand, the bigger scale, like how, government, politics, nations, how they build this system where some people are oppressed. And I wanted to know why, like, unfair. I don't want that. Let's change this by knowing. First learn and then do something to change what's in place, So in France, it's different from the United States. So, race is really like taboo. We don't talk about race. We don't see colors. Black, but like we feel it. So it's more like about social privilege. It translates into social privilege. You see more black people in like poor suburbans. The concentration of like people who are suffering, who like are not living very good. They're black, but it don't really say it like that. It's just say like, it's just part of a society who don't really work, who like don't have a lot of money. It's not because they're black, they're just because they're poor, So it's more like, it's not, here in France, they don't talk about it, about colors. It's just like social class. Yeah, social class. To me, it's just like, so how society works. They put you into case, okay, you're from there, you need to follow that path. Okay, you're from this neighborhood, so you're gonna work in this field, so you're gonna have this kind of, you're gonna be interesting in this stuff and not other stuff. And then when you go to school, like, people who helps you find your way, they're like, okay, so they won't really lead you into like, how do you say, into, path, even school, even if you're clever and all that, they won't like push you into like big studies, or they will just, okay, do this because, you don't have the resources, just, it's easier for you, that kind of stuff. Until you realize, okay, so that's how society works, that's where it wants me to be, and it doesn't want me to change, to move, to go, I would say, like, move upwards scale. I just want you to stay at a starting point. Now, to me, the saddest thing is ignorance. I think if we would know even black people, like I said with my mother, she's like inferior complexity because she don't know the history. So I think if even black people and white people as well knew the history of everything, it could be like what happened in Africa, what happened in Europe, white perspective, but we can learn also the black perspective, like just learning and know the facts, know your history. I think just that would improve the society like so much. Just know the history, learn about the people you're sharing your life with, your city with. You know, you go out, you meet this girl, and she's from Pakistan, but like you never talk to her, you know nothing about her, you don't know where she's coming from, you don't know why she's here. Like every time, like when I grew up, because when I was young, I didn't question this much. But like in the France, you know, when they talk about identity, what is being French, it's so hard to define what's being French, yeah, because everybody's so different. Everybody's so different. Like my parents are from Congo. I was born and raised here. I've never been to Congo. So like when people they ask me, oh, where you from? I'm like, oh, I'm from Orléans. And they're like, oh yeah, but like where are you from? Like, oh, I was born in, you know, I like playing this game because they're knowing like I'm from here, bro, as much as you are, even if I'm black. And so yeah, just know the history. I think white or black or whatever, wherever you're from, just know about the people you're surrounded with. I think will help. That's the thing. That's so sad. Like I'm from here. Like every people I meet, I'm French. Like when you're in France, you're like, oh no, I'm from Congo. Like, bro, it doesn't make sense. Like, who am I? See, even Black American, because I'm from France, but like my only references when I was young was Black Americans. There's no other black like figure. I remember when I was younger, like on TV or even music or any, you know, that kind of space. It was all from America, so that's where I learned my English through music and TV shows. Like every black people I know or I was looking up to, like the few black people, I was like, oh, she's black, she made it, I can make it too. He black, he's so cool. Oh my God, there's black people out there. They're so cool. They're so pretty. They're all from America. So yeah, when I was young and I was, you know, kind of looking for a connection with like, my people. I'm not Asian, obviously. I'm not even white, obviously, as well. And the only references I had were from America. So I'm glad there's like this black culture coming from America because I grew up with it. Like when I love American culture, Black American culture. Like damn, they're my people. I need to live there. I need to find my people there. See, I wanted to go to America, but I never really wanted to go to Africa. It was like, oh, there's my people there. Like I know more history about Black Americans than African people, or even the history of Congo, where my parents are from. And so yeah, that's crazy. Like I'm black, but like I don't really identify myself as black because it's France. We don't have to. Like I don't want to be that kind of box. We don't have to. Just we don't have to. But when you compare every other, even in France, you look at Asian people. They live as a community. Like oh, they all help each other. This Chinese guy came. The entire Chinese community came and welcomed in the country. They find him a job. They help him with the accommodation and everything. And like, oh, that's so cool. You look at even Arabs people, you know, they're really into their own group. But when you look at black people, they don't really, you know, help themselves as a group. There's no like real black community. Like, oh, I know these people. Maybe it might work in some families, you know. Cool families when they know that relation is precious. But it doesn't really work like that. And when I grew up at school, we just learned like French history, like white people, how they conquered the world and all that. Just this point of view very clearly, like, oh, okay, it comes from Europe, and then after the world expanded as if nothing else existed before. You're like, okay, Europe is the starting point of everything. Got you. But when you grew up, you learn more, and you learn that, okay, at that time in Europe was like that. But if you know the history of other countries, they were even more developed at the same time. But then after war happened and whatever, you know, history. And then you learn, you're like, okay, so there's another way, another point of view. Like, you can tell the history differently, you know. Depends on what side of the world you are. And so when you grow up, you learn, you read, and you gotta be curious a little bit. You gotta, right, look for it. But when you learn some stuff, you're like, oh, damn, okay. Then you get more curious, like, oh, wow, so there's another history. There's more information I can get, and there's different point of view. Like, it might be a victory for Europe, but a defeat for another country, but at another period it was on the contrary. Like, so, like, wow, Africa was in peace. It was a safe continent. Like, countries were cool. You could go there and just enjoy life, like, not worry about poverty or whatever, or not being safe. So yeah, you just learn and you get curious, and I don't know, I think it got to me, yeah, just by comparing. When I see my friends with their families and all that, they keep their culture, they go back to their country, like every year. Oh, I'm going this, every summer I have to go, they call it the bled, like their home country, their parents' home country. Every summer they even complain. Oh, every summer I have to go there. I don't want to go there. Like, I'm looking at them like, bro, I would love to go to my parents' country every summer, but I never did. So you look, in some black families do that, but like it's not like a reference. Like, it's not normal, I'd say. You don't go every year to your home country, but like some other communities does. And I was like, damn, why don't I? Why my mother doesn't have a house there? Like, what happened? Then just look for information everywhere you can find, and just try to write your own history. To me, culture is like, how do you say in English? It has value. If you know your culture, like, you're rich, not money rich, but like, you know, and knowledge is, they say power, but it's just precious. It has value. You can count. That's why they have a lot of libraries here and everywhere in the world. They keep books and they write histories and all that. They want to keep it because it's precious. It has a lot of value. You can't even count. No money value even more than that. So I feel sad that I don't have that richness that I could have, like, from my parents, like, for free, like being born in a house where, you know, they're related and they care with them this precious gift, generation to generation, and that they just give it to me like, oh, here's your heritage, keep it, and keep, like, you know, spread it to the next generation. I don't have that. So I think it's very sad that we, a generation, like, we have to look for where we come from. We have to, build the libraries. We have to collect the books. We even sometimes have to write the books because there's no books. There's not a lot of books. Nowadays, there's more a generation that wants to reconnect. So there's more information out there. There's people that, you know, started the path of like, okay, let's reconnect. Let's know where we're coming from. Let's get back our heritage and this culture richness that we lost sometimes in time. But yeah, it's very sad. This is so funny because I had this conversation with like one of Osen's friend. It was yesterday morning. No, yeah, yesterday. Yeah, yesterday morning on the train. I've known him for 2 weeks. This is only the second time I met him, but we were talking on the train and we were talking about our own experience growing here in France as Black people, Black family. And yeah, I will definitely blame my parents. Like, why? They're the one who gave birth to me. They're the one who decided to be here and to grow family here, but still they're black and they know how it is to be black here, and they should like tell or teach their children like, okay, you black, this is like a white country. Not really, because France, you know, identity problem, we don't know really. But we know it's white. But still you have an heritage. You French, but you also this. And they didn't really. They still kept like some, you know, of their cultural heritage. Like my mother, she only eats Congolese food. She loves it. Like French food too is just not interested. Like, let me just. She takes every day I look at her. It takes hours for her to cook. I'm like, girl, you have that courage every day just to eat her food. So I'm like, oh, she kept some of her, you know. She's still an African girl, but when you listen to her talking, you're like, bro, no, you're more than that. She's really looking at the white people, like above black people, like I said the other time, same. And so yeah, I would definitely blame them. But if I blame them, they were like, oh, this is not really their fault completely, because like themselves, they are like generations where they're like, you know, mentally or even in their own country, you know, at school they learn European history. You're like, oh, it makes no sense to me. I'm like, mommy, like in a school in Congo, everywhere in the country at a certain time, at the, you know, when she was younger, they will learn French history, European history, Belgian history. Like, you're like, bro, you from Africa, you have your own history. Why would you learn their history? This is not here. This is not. It can be your story, because I believe culture doesn't belong to anybody. Culture is for everybody. Like, you want to experience like black culture, experience it, love it, do it. Be black, identify as black. Go girl, go boy as well. But like, you have your own. Keep it, or don't keep it, but like know it at least. Like, know it. Just knowing your math lessons, you know, like it's basic. It's part of you, you know, 1 + 1 = 2, and then you can go on to life with that forever. Same with your culture. Like, if you know where you come from, even when you meet new people and they have their own history, you can share your history. It's mostly about sharing, I guess. But like, just, I don't know. It's just rich. Yeah, I think like in most situation in life, it can help you deal with stuff. Or yeah, when you meet new people, when you get in a new environment, you have keys, I guess, to see the world in a way that can help you solve problem, or I don't know, grow in life. I have a lot of Korean friends. Like, I have 2 or 3 that went back to their country last year just to live there and work there. They were born and raised here. Like, I never thought of going to Congo and work there. Like, why? What for? Let me stay in Europe. And so I feel like because they have this connection, they went to the country like multiple times. They still have family there, and they talk the language perfectly. And yeah, they see a future for their own country. Whereas some of African descendants, we don't see no future in our own country, the country our parents come from. It's like, just give up. Give up the land. Let's try and build something here and, you know, live properly here in Europe or everywhere they are now. So this going back and then seeing a future in their homeland, their parents' land, made like major difference compared to some black people. Didn't very rare, or it depends where in Africa you come from, like Senegal or even Côte d'Ivoire. They have like these strong communities where, like they value their homeland and like, okay, this is my motherland. Let me build something there. Let me, do something for this land. But like, yeah, Congo, it's very like nobody, even my big sister's generation, like even bought a piece of land to have a project with it. Like, why would you do that? It's a waste of money. Just build something here and live here. It's not just going back. Some of them just go back and they stay there. They build the country. Like they're born and raised here in France. France is supposed to be their own reference, our own French, right? But they go back, and because there's this connection, they feel like they can live there. Oh, this is my country, I can live here. And because they feel like this is their country, they're like, oh, let me take care of my country. So they build stuff there, and they see like, economy is growing because more people are going back. They work there, they bring money in the country, and so the country is doing fine. Just that. I have this funny story. I was with my mom, and one of her friends, she lives in South Africa, and she came on holiday in Paris, like was last winter. So we was visiting Paris, and we went to the Eiffel Tower. She wanted to see the Eiffel Tower. Oh, let's go. Well, just all three. And we was waiting in the queuing just to get in the elevator to go up. And they were just like, oh, wow, this is so pretty. Wow, like white people are so clever. Look at what they build. I looked at them. My mother, she was speaking French, and we were surrounded by a lot of white people. And I looked at her, I was like, but who built it? Where the money comes from? Like, hello, think. And she looked at me, she was like, shh, don't talk too loud. I was like, why? They have to know as well. This is their history. Why would I hide it from them? They know it. I know it too. They should know it. That I know. And she was like, no, don't say it too loud. Okay, Colette. Okay, whatever. And they were like, we won't talk about this with you anymore. Like you. I'm like, no, but this is fact. Okay, France is pretty. Europe is very pretty. We live here. We live good here. Like we have a very good life compared to others. So I'm very grateful being here. But also, the more you know the history, you're like, okay, they did good for the world. They did good for themselves. Oh, let's build our country. They build their country with other people's richness. Like they took it from other country, even la main d'oeuvre, like the people working. Most of them, they were not white at the time, like they brought people from even North Africa in general, to build their lands. Yeah. And so, yeah, Europe is pretty, French is good. I love being here. This is my country as well. So I like it here, but like I know the history, and I know that we shouldn't like throw flowers at them too much. Like, bro, there's like a back history of all this beauty that you should know. You should not forget.